Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everyone all around the world. I'm here in Peru. It's a very hot Christmas day here. It's about 25 degrees outside. It's in the afternoon. And I've been quite diligent in actually posting two of my recently recorded podcasts. They're out now for you to enjoy. But I wanted to update you a little bit on what's going on here. First of all, how is the COVID situation in Peru? Is it still low? How is Omicron coming along? Is there any problems of traveling to Peru right now? Well, not really. There was the rates of COVID was extremely low for about 2 months, 3 months, and they have risen a little bit, and it was feared a couple of weeks ago that we were on to a third wave. However, the numbers haven't really gone up that much, and the little bump that we had, it stayed more or less at the same level. So we're now talking about 5% positivity on the tests that I've been doing, and that's more or less stayed the same for the last 3 weeks. So hopefully this continues this way. And of course, in terms of epidemiology, there's been some concerns about Christmas, of course, because people are getting together. And so the government actually issued a curfew between 11 p.m. last night and to 4 o'clock this morning, because the traditional thing here in Peru when you're celebrating Christmas is that you wait until midnight, and then that's like, okay, Christmas arrived, that's the day. So Christmas Eve, you sort of prepare a little bit, you have some food and so forth, and after midnight you start calling all your friends, or you actually go over and visit your neighbors, or you visit your family, or you visit, you drive over to the house of cousins or uncles or whatever, other family members that you haven't been able to celebrate with, right? And that is the common thing. And of course, that would have been a very serious way of spreading COVID as well. So the government issued this curfew between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. They've also issued another thing that's very popular in Peru is that after Christmas, especially here along the coast, it's summer right now, so everyone goes to the beach, right? So they actually they've canceled the sales of beer on the beaches for over these sort of the long holiday now, for Friday to Sunday over Christmas, and the same with the New Year's around New Year's Eve. So no alcohol or no beers can be sold on the beaches. People are still able to go there, but they will not be able to mingle in bars and so forth. So these are sort of small steps that invade on our freedom. But to be frank, I couldn't really care much about it. It's not that big of a deal, really, and if it could help somewhat, okay. Other things they've been doing here recently also is that they've issued rules saying that you cannot enter any public spaces unless you have the 2 shots of vaccinations. And so it's almost like a vaccine passport. I know this has been heavily debated elsewhere, and it's again a bit of invasion of your privacy and your personal rights, so to speak. But I think we have to see this as a temporary thing here in Peru, at least. And we've been very fortunate in Peru that we haven't really had a third wave. And if this measure could be a way of actually getting people to get vaccinated, and that way also keep the pressure off from the hospitals, because that's been the bottleneck during the last spike of COVID in Peru, that the hospitals couldn't really manage And so the vaccination is going well in Peru, and this is just another additional incentive actually to get vaccinated. So in the long run, I think it's a good thing, at least for Peru. I'm not sure that the rules would work in a similar way in other areas in other countries, but at least for here, I think it's quite necessary, because if the hospitals get overloaded again, we are going to have a big problem. You also see people still here in Peru wearing masks. It's mandatory everywhere in Peru, even when you're out in the street. When you go inside a public place like a supermarket or a shopping mall or something, you have to wear an N95 mask or two simple, more sort of basic surgeon's masks. So that's another thing that possibly has had an effect, keeping COVID at bay and keeping that third wave off, in spite of Peru being a very social country. People mix, family is a big thing, and so social contact is a rather important thing in Peru, especially among family. And it may well be that this wearing the mask has had this effect, that we haven't had a third wave still. So is Peru open? Yes, it is open for anyone. Anyone really around the world can come here if you have the two shots of vaccination. You don't have to take a COVID test before arriving. The only exception to the rule is South Africa, which I will come back to. South Africa, people that have visited South Africa in the last 2 weeks cannot enter Peru without quarantine. I'm not really sure whether they can enter at all, or if they can go and have 14 days quarantine. But what's the point, right? So effectively, people that have been to South Africa cannot enter Peru, and this stays active until the 1st of January. I think it may change after that, or maybe it's even the 15th of January. I can't remember exactly, but so that basically it's open for everyone else. On the downside is that we used to be level 2 in the US. They've been rising that now to level 3. I think it has to do with the mildly increase of cases in Peru, and maybe also the presence of Omicron, which is not high at all. It's only around 40 cases or so it's not high at all in Peru. And as I said, there are a lot of good numbers also. The number of deaths have gone down. The number of people hospitalized has gone down as well. New cases are, it's fairly low. I think it's about 1,000 daily in a population of about a little bit more than 1,000 daily in our population of over 30 million people. So it's not too bad. That about the COVID situation. So you can definitely come to Peru now, and there is, if you have the 2 vaccinations, there's no problem whatsoever. So the second news that I just mentioned is that my podcast is out. That is great fun. I have been editing finally after I came back from Brazil. And 2 podcast episodes are out. You can find the show notes on 7wondersbirding.com/ slash what? I think, no, it's on the tab, actually. It's in the tab. So in the tab of 7wondersbirding.com, you find the podcasts episodes that I posted. And I've done 2 so far. I've been rushing these out together in order to get some momentum. I hope you will check them out. and leave a review and subscribe, etc. You have two very good guests in the two first episodes. The first one is Nigel Marvin, who is a TV presenter and producer of natural history from the UK. He's been on a lot of shows on Discovery and Nat Geo as well, National Geographic. And maybe most famous for his being chased by dinosaurs. But he was filming here many years ago in Peru, so we got to know each other, and he's come back a few times since. And in 2018, we did a celebrity tour with him on as well when Colibri Expeditions turned 20 years. So we had a special tour which he was on. And so it's a very interesting interview, and Nigel gives some of his best tips for traveling around the world, also some bucket list places you can visit. And we talk a lot about Machu Picchu and Peru, of course. And yeah, it's a nice episode. And the second one is with Peter Kestner, who is the #1 e-birder of the world. He and I went around in Ayacucho in July this year, and he came to Peru to look for some of these newly split / newly described antpittas in the Rufus and Chestnut antpitta complex for Peru. Peru got like 8 new species all of a sudden just because of this taxonomic shuffling. So we talk a little bit about that. We talk also about India, where he's been stationed twice actually as a diplomat, but also he visited in his childhood, and yeah, lots of other topics also about eBird and about the obsession of going around the world, filling in the blanks on the map, so to speak. So another nice episode that I just posted, so check that out. So what about travel in these coming months? Well, we have a group right now, actually, which was one that I had hoped getting more people, but it's been this way since June. We've had pretty much since end of May groups of only 1 to 2 people all the time. So we've been staying afloat, but yeah, just barely. And the groups are always quite small. And and this was the case now also with the with this group that we have running right now. There was supposed to be, I think, like 3 people at one time, and now we're down to 1. So, but he's doing northern Peru. He's spending Christmas. Yesterday he was looking at gray-bellied comet, and today he's on his way to Lima, going through the Marañón Valley. The guide is Juan Julca, who's from the north. He's from the Chapari area. Very good birder, young birder, very keen, and his English is getting better, I must say. So little by little, I think he will get more and more experience of dealing with larger groups as well. But anyway, I'm here in Lima, and I had looked forward quite a bit actually to go to South Africa in the end of January to take part of this flock of Marion. But as I said, South Africa is still on the Peruvian red list. So that wasn't really a good call. And secondly, well, I think my family may not have been that overly happy if I would have gone in the first place. Or, well, if I would have gone, they would have gone with me, of course. But because it's my daughter's 15th birthday, and that's kind of a big thing here in Peru. So instead of this cruise where I was going to look for albatrosses and whales together with the family in kind of cold weather, I guess. I'm not really sure they were up to it, but anyway, I think they would have been impressed, but regardless. But anyhow, that's not on the stake anymore. So instead, my daughter, she wanted to do and she wanted to go on a Disney cruise, and I go, no, do I have to? But it turns out she wants to go to Bahamas. Okay, I've never been to Bahamas, and I must say it hasn't really been on my radar at all. But as we're going now, the family wants to go. I guess I will have to take them. And I just checked out a couple of weeks ago what I will be able to see there, and I think I've got like maybe some seven or so lifers to look for, and including 4 Bahama endemics. So yeah, that's not too bad, and they should be, most of them should be fairly common. So I'm looking forward to that also, and it'll be some quality time with my family. If anyone wants to come along, send me a message. If you have kids and you're sort of also forced to do something with your family, I shouldn't say forced to. It's going to be lots of fun. But if you're looking for something to do with your family and you're a birder, and well, maybe you can join on the same tour. So just reach out and I'll tell you more about it. All right, but what else then? Well, one thing that Nigel was talking about on his sort of best experiences in the world was in Mexico, and one was the gray whales. They come and they calf. Is that the right word? They have their kids anyway in along Baja California, and there are places where you go out in a small little boat, and the gray whales actually come up to you. They search you up, and they come up to get basically come up to the boat to get petted. They want to get tickled under their tongues and stuff like that, and it's like a magical experience to be so close to another intelligent life form and have this interaction. It must be something extremely spectacular. And the other thing that Nigel mentions also is the gathering of some 50 million monarch butterflies outside of Mexico City. So I had this, again, sort of trying to put together ideas for how to do the ideal short tours to bucket lists, places and spectacles and natural history events and birds around the world, how we could put this into an itinerary. So I actually came up with a 6-day itinerary that we could do. Best time of year is actually January and February. So like early March, I think still goes, but then after that, it'll be a little bit too late for some of the, I think especially the monarchs, I think it'll be a little bit too late. But so what else can you do on sort of combining these two events together? It wasn't super easy to get this together, because where you fly in on Baja, you usually fly in, say, to La Paz, but it's a far way up to the area where the whales are. So it needed to fit in with another flight further north, and I think I've come up with the best plan for it now, so that it actually works. The whole program will take 6 days, and yeah, you also actually visit near La Paz at the point of Baja California Peninsula. There is also the possibility to snorkel with whale shark, and there are also endemic birds, quite a few endemic subspecies that will likely become species one of these days, including the American robin. There, it doesn't look much like an American robin, and there are a couple of other ones as well. And and those occur just also on the southern tip of Baja California, so we make a special day for that. And then when it comes to the monarchs, one can also go and look for red warbler, amazing amazingly beautiful warbler, completely red with a white eye patch. And there's also the endemic, vulnerable, I think may even be threatened, the Sierra Madre sparrow outside of Mexico City. Mexico City per se has a little bit bad rap, but is I find it very interesting, the town, and especially if you go and visit the anthropological museum there, it's really, really good. And there will be time to do that also during, we have like a free afternoon in Mexico City, so it should work as well. So I've just put this like an outline to this program. So for 6 days, and it could be run, for instance, in late February or early January, early February maybe. I'll have to fit it in with my other tours that I have. So of course I have this cruise with the family, and then I also have in February planned a trip to Ecuador to look for hummingbirds with a client who loves hummingbirds. And that is open actually if anyone else loves hummingbirds and want to see a lot of hummingbirds. You can join us in Ecuador. And then I also have a friend coming to Peru, to northern Peru, and I will likely do at least a week or maybe 10 days with him also. So that will be right after that Ecuador trip that he is probably joining as well. So if you're interested in setting this Mexico itinerary up together with me, do a little pilot trip there, we could do that. And if you want to do it in 2023, let me know also, and we get it into the calendar to actually sort of start promoting it. But it would be, yeah, it would be great fun. I'm looking forward to seeing one of Nigel Marvin's absolutely best natural history spectacles of the world. Right. So yeah, and I said, or did I? No, I don't think I did. One of the topics here that I had for today was talking about what I did a couple of weeks ago. I was in Brazil, and that was a lot of fun. I was birding with two birders in Pantanal. We did a very fast trip to Pantanal, and also it was the beginning of the rainy season, so we were warned that the road all the way down to Porto Jofre would be very likely difficult to tackle. But we also, and that Porto Jofre is where you usually go out and see the jaguars. However, we also heard that there were very frequent sightings of jaguars from, well, both from Pioval Lodge and from Mato Grosso Hotel area on the Rio Picharim, I think it's called the river there. And so we had made a plan, and if we didn't see a jaguar, we could also always be flexible to do some changes. There was a small group, so we didn't really need to have everything planned in detail in advance, but we really took it as one day at a time, depending on what we saw and what we needed to do. And it was a fun and very flexible way of traveling, because we could make changes in the program to improve it. We could also, if we had problems with weather or whatever, and we didn't get some of our targets, we could stay longer. And we did quite a few changes in the program in the end, just because we had the flexibility to do so with this small group, and also the fact that because of COVID, most places were empty. It was quite easy to get lodging everywhere we went, so we could do that from one day to the other. It wasn't really a big problem. So yeah, and so did we see jaguars? Yes, we did. Yeah, we saw jaguars both at Pioval and at Mato Grosso Hotel. We had excellent sightings, and they were all self-found as well, so we did not have to be joined by a lot of other cars or boats, so that was fun. And we also saw tapir, of course, and we saw giant otters and loads of birds as well. And then we went up to Chapada, the Guamires, and that is the sort of a little bit of a granite well, it's granite rocks and on a plateau above Cuyaba, and they have some special birds up there and some special habitat. And I actually got a lifer. I got a blue finch as a lifer, and on that same day as I got the blue finch, we also saw a jaguarundi. It was the first time ever I've seen a jaguarundi. So that was very special. There's a few endemics up there also, like Chapada flycatcher. And yeah, overall it was a very successful first part. We had 6 days in the whole sort of Cuyaba area, so quite short. And then we had 12 additional days for the southeast. And there we traveled first to the coast of Ubatuba, where there are great lowland, southeast Brazil lowland forest birding, but also the hummingbird feeders at Jonas's place at Folha Seca. And that was quite spectacular also, with having all these hummingbirds very, very, very close by. And then we also birded the Fazenda Angelim, good place for buff-throated, buff-breasted purple tuft. So we saw that, and lots of the other special birds that you see there, the bamboo wren, the large-tailed landshrike, etc. And from there we traveled via Parachi and Pereque for black-hooded ant wren, and to the Novo Friburgo area. And this we visited both the Nueva Caledonia Trail, the New Caledonia Trail, where it's a stronghold for gray-winged cotinga, which we heard but did not see. And then we went to Regua also. We liked Regua so much, so we actually spent 2 nights there. Highly recommended lodge, and we went out with a very, very, very good local guide there also, and saw lots of good birds, including another lifer for me, the elegant mourner, or also known as the elegant Lanisoma. So yeah, that was very special also. And then we traveled to Itachaya, and Itachaya I've been to several times before. We had some good birding there along the Tres Picos Trail, and we also visited Hotel Ipe for the hummingbird feeders. On the Ipe Trail, we had another mammal, and you won't believe this, but we actually had a margay cat sitting on the trail as we were birding. So 3 cats on this very successful Brazil trip. And after that, we visited Campos do Jordão, a stronghold for turquoise breasted parrot, and vinaceous breasted parrot, which is a specialist in the Araucaria. And before that also, actually, we went to Pico, to what's it called? The Agulha Negras Road, which is part of the Itachaya National Park. And there we had swallow-tailed cotinga, among other things. At Campos do Jordão, we also had the black-capped piprides that we had to struggle for, not at Campos do Jordão so much, but we struggled a lot with it in Itachaya, but eventually got that. And then, unfortunately, one of the passengers had to go home when we passed Sao Paulo, so it was only me and another Swedish birder. that went to Intervalles for 3 nights, where we were locally guided by very well-known local guide Luis for those. Well, we had 2 full days with Luis there, and so a bunch of good birds, including the black-legged Dackness, another lifer, very rare bird that we got there. And so that was the Brazil trip in a nutshell. I'll see if I can get some sort of a trip report together just using the new eBird function now. That I should mention as well. eBird now has a trip report function where you can sort of collect the sightings into one little sort of trip report. I haven't really checked exactly how it works, but it should be interesting. And it should be a much easier way to do trip reports than previously from eBird. So a good addition to the battery of useful tools that eBird and Merlin together provides to birders these days. Right, last item on my agenda for today is New Year's resolutions. So I guess it's a little bit time to start summarizing what I've been up to in 2021. What are the things that I thought I was going to do last year and what I actually did. So I have trained a lot for the marathons. I have actually sort of equaled the amount of running this year as I did in 2014, which was my sort of best years in results, really. But I didn't really quite make the results I wanted in the marathons that I ran. So the Berlin Marathon and the Philadelphia Marathon, I'm still pretty far from my lifetime goal of running a 3-hour marathon, a sub 3-hour marathon. Will it ever be possible? Well, you cannot give up your dreams, you know, so you just have to keep on fighting. Yeah. So I need to lay new strategies for this year, of course. And I'm not really sure exactly how to do that because I still don't know which marathons I will be able to run. There's the London Marathon that I have put in my my ballot for. You know, they're gonna have like a lottery, and that is sometimes in February. So like in February, I will know whether I will run in October in London or not. And so that is, yeah, that sucks in a way. So I don't really know where I'm going to run next. And there's also no news about whether there will be a Lima Marathon in May, as usual. If there is, I probably will run that. I also have eyed on Comrades Marathon, which is actually an ultra marathon in South Africa. That is in the beginning. No, it's in the end of August, I think. And so if that's also by ballot, I think. So if I get the chance, I will probably try to run that. But otherwise, I don't know. So but still, the goal is to start training somewhat more seriously, right now. So here's what I think about New Year's resolutions. I think you should start early. I don't think you should wait until like January 1st to really do those resolutions. You start a little bit, you try out what you think you will be able to do. That could be some change in habits, or it could be some goals that you want to set up, and you start thinking about these things way before, and you start practicing as well. I'm not really sure exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm going to try to sort of double a few things that I've done this year. I've read some 46 books. Most of them have been like audiobooks while I'm running, so that's like the thing that I would like to keep up doing and try to see if I could get like one every week. I almost got one every week now. I have a few that I can finish, or I will probably get to around, I don't know, 49, 50 if I'm really diligent and run a lot this next week, maybe I can get even up to 51. 52 would be stretching it, but anyway. And I read a lot of different things, a lot of things about how to become a better me. I've actually posted a few of those also on my blog on gunnarengblom.com, so you can check those out. I will post more of the stuff that I've been reading on there eventually, so you can check that also and what I've learned. But that has been very useful. I must say, I feel like I'm much more efficient now in terms of the things that I want to do, the things I want to accomplish. Of course, there's still time sucks, but I feel that I'm controlling them much better now than I used to. And I had an idea of doing like one project every week, and that went for about 8 weeks or 10 weeks or so, and then it sort of just dwindled into not having time to pursue seriously a new thing every week. That was kind of a little bit too hard, but it was a nice idea anyway, and it sort of got a little bit of structure also in the plans of what I wanted to do. But there you go. So I don't know. I haven't really decided exactly yet what I will do, but I think there are a few things that I need to do apart from my running. One is I'm quite inspired by all the people that are actually uploading all their photos, bird photos to eBird. So that would be kind of a nice project to do. Try to start doing that and get my eBird up to date, or eBird list up to date as well. But again, very time consuming. I've got the Seven Wonders Birding podcast off the ground now, so keeping that up will be an important part. And I also hope to be able to continue with this idea of some sort of best birds of the world book idea that I have, and just go through all the best birds and making lists so that there will be something to talk about in the future. But regardless, it's something that I've been working on for quite some time, and I will give that somewhat more focus, because it's big projects that I want to do, but it's never really urgent, so it always sort of gets shuffled under the carpet, so to speak. So and then continue with some these tours, Seven Wonders Birding tours, some of our projects, see if we can get this pelagic project off the ground from south of Nazca. Also get the Satipo Road project working. There have been some quarrels here within the community that has made it a little bit difficult to get this project off the ground, but that's another thing that is on the agenda, and that will definitely happen during 2022. So there's lots of things to do, and I hope you also have some ideas of what you will be doing to become the better you next year. And if I can help in any way, let me know. I've started actually a group among some Facebook friends. Maybe some of you would want to join to become better versions of yourselves. We made this a male group. It's not by discrimination, but it's like men don't have places to talk about manly things, if there's such a thing. It's very hard, and I find it very hard here in Peru actually to have male friends, or have any friends for that matter. So in order to have some people that to report to and to sort of get inspiration from and give inspiration to, we formed this little small Facebook group of only 5 people, but we could definitely get more people to join. So let me know if you're interested. Anyway, have a really good rest of the holidays. Merry Christmas to everyone, and Happy New Year, and hopefully see you soon in Peru or elsewhere around the world in real life. Have a good one. Bye.